said me. We're going to remove that. We're going to go over here. We're going to turn it a little bit more this way. There we go. We're all good. I need to shave. That's fine. Brand music. Why not? What's going on? Let's go back to comments. This way I have that. Hey, welcome aboard, everybody. It is more than exciting. It's Monday. It is December 19th. We had the first night of Hanukkah last night. We're getting ready for the rest of those 8 crazy nights. And then, boom, we got an overlap of flying right into Santa Claus time with Christmas, and then soon after Kwanzaa and all the holidays. Everybody celebrates. You got New Year's coming up. Got so many things. Yeah, and I know you got those New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. No matter, I don't say, I will say this and say this time and time again. Don't hold off until New Year's to go start something. Why are you doing it? Because of a date or because you really want to do it? Yeah, the big joke over there is like, oh, you can't find a parking spot in these parking areas by the gyms. Who's got those New Year's resolutions? Comes January, there's nothing. You're parked out in the boondocks because everybody's there. Comes February, well, there's spots. Comes March, you're parking right up front. But that's a New Year's resolution. That's not a goal. What is a goal? What's the difference between a goal and a New Year's resolution? Well, it's something you think about a lot. So the rabbi this morning went over to the shul. Went over to the rabbi this morning. He's talking about Hanukkah and stuff like that. He said, you know what you need to do? It's like, okay, here we go. What do we need to do? He said, you need to listen. Listen. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the catch on this one? Because, if I tell you or you ask me, so, how do you become a better speaker? Well, it's the first thing you need to do is to listen, practice your listening skills. Doug, good afternoon to you, my friend. First thing you need to do is practice those listening skills. Listen to your audience. They may not be saying anything verbally. It's all about body language. Are they leaning forward? Are they taking notes? Are they looking up at the sky? Are they holding their head up? All that speaks. That's an audience thing. When it comes to being a better speaker, you need to make sure they're all leaning forward. You have their attention. How do you do that? A couple of different ways. That's not what we're talking about here today. But you could do that. Listening. So what he said was that when you light that candle, there you go. When you light that candle, you need to listen to that candle. You talk about like 10 or 15 minutes over the candle burns for, or whatever. That doesn't really make a difference. And if you got an electric bulb, it goes on forever. So point is that when we light that candle, just hang on for a while. Watch it burn, relax, sit back, think about it. It's kind of like focusing on meditating. It's kind of like focusing on exercising. It's kind of like focusing on you. So when we do these things, we take ourselves out of that normal setting. And then we put ourselves someplace different. So maybe by lighting that candle, the miracle of the oil and that kind of thing, we then get a chance to think about it. It's like, wow, I wonder what that was really like to sit there and know that everything's going bad, but all of a sudden this miracle happens. It just keeps on burning. I wonder how many miracles happened this past year in your life, or good things that have happened, even when it really seems crappy. Something good happens. Maybe taking that 10 or 15 minutes every time you light a candle, or every time you go out and run, or every time you meditate, or every day when you get going in the morning, you have that cup of coffee, tea, shake, whatever it is that you drink in the morning. Instead of reading the paper, instead of watching this crazy news, Doug, you're a good man. Here's Doug's comment. I'll put it up over there. Guy's got a great attitude. But instead of sitting around, watching the news for the morning routine or reading the paper for the morning routine, take out that notepad. My notepad keeps getting bigger and bigger. I got to start translating it over. But take out that notepad. Take out that notepad each day. I'd even better to do it at night, but let's stay focused with the morning thing here. And it's there you go. But take out that notepad in the morning and write down those things that took place over the prior day. That was like, you know what? That was a good thing. That was definitely a good thing. You could write down those things that you want to get to today that you just didn't make it to yesterday. That's a good thing. When to write down the negatives that took place, put them on the bottom of the sheet. You know, maybe what you learned from those negatives. That would be a positive thing to do. But I think the point is that taking those 10 or 15 minutes out, wherever it might be, including if it's looking at a fish tank for 10 or 15 minutes, which I agree with you there, Doug. It's like watching the fire in a fireplace or something like that. It just is consistent. Doesn't change much, but it changes. Always something to keep your attention there with it. And it's something that you really need to focus on. Gives you a chance to just sit. Could be going down to the ocean. And now's a great time to go down there. Go down to the ocean, go down to the bay. Very few people. The birds are out. It's quiet. It's cold. But so what? Show up there. Bring your notepad. Feel like Blue's Clues. Bring your handy dandy notepad. But bring your notepad with you. Chair, beach chair, blanket, warm clothes, hot cocoa, coffee, tea, whatever it is. Camera. I always bring the camera. And just sit out there. 10 or 15 minutes. It's okay. You won't freeze to death. Go out there. Just get away from the whole thing. Now, although it's a nice thing to do with the candles, perhaps it's something we should do it a bit more often, as to really get ourselves clear in the head as to what we should be doing, shouldn't be doing. Getting back to those goals. What would that goal be? Well, the goal on that one is to get rid of all the clutter that's filling up our heads. Get rid of all the stuff that doesn't really matter that much. You want to figure out what really matters to you that much? You want to sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and think about it? Okay, that's all well and good. But that might be what matters to you that much at that moment. But think about this. Talk about a New Year's resolution. What if you did this every day? Some people have kept a diary. A friend of mine has kept a diary. Calls it a journal, not a diary, but whatever. Every day he jots something in there. Line, 2 lines, 3 lines, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less than 4 lines, but something. Something. He's got something in there. I wonder what you would learn, or what he would learn, if we went back and took a look at those little notes that he jotted down over the past year or 2 or 3, and to see what was up front, foremost on his mind all the time. It's interesting. I've been cleaning up in here pretty much through that process, which is good. And what a process that is. I got rid of, and actually today we donated a lot of stuff, but got rid of everything that was collecting dust and didn't need to be. My next phase on the whole thing is to really go through everything and get rid of those things that if I ever moved, what would I really take with me? And that kind of thing. Not at that point, not moving anywhere. We're here. That's it. Wait till I tell you what the project is. You'll know I'm here. But so I did run across some of my old notes. I used to keep a daily journal, a daily note. No, it wasn't a note. It was actually a daily activity for business. And this was something that I had not done for years because I'm in a different place with that whole thing from that period of time and then that role. But that was when I was doing these business plans, and that was keeping a journal. I was also keeping a time log, and I kept a whole bunch of different things because I knew what I was doing, but I knew also that what I was doing was not as efficient as it should be. I was interrupted all the time. I was in a managerial role, so I was interrupted all of the time, and I was like, "What was I working on?" Um, Not as organized as it should be. Again, I just touched those things are on my desk because I had things thrown at me over the course of the day. And then when I finished something that was done for my own business, I put it in a pile. I had these piles behind me, and I never really filed them properly. Just did it. So I was like, I had to do something. I came in one weekend. I came in early on a Saturday morning, and I straightened up the entire desk. Everything was super clean. And then put in place this idea of keeping a daily sheet. So the daily sheet included those. It was like 6 things I had to do each and every day. Had to do. Was reviewing stuff. There's the 6 things I had to review each and every morning. It was another goal I had over there was to drink. It was eight glasses of water throughout the day. Had that down there. Then I had another section of things from the prior day that I did, and then things from the prior day that I did not get to, which was on the bottom of the section, and the day's best moment. Pretty complete, fairly easy to do once I got into the routine of doing it, and therein lies the biggest challenge. Like, how do you start something? Just start it. Just start it. Now I use the word just start it there too, because no matter what project you begin, it's just not going to be right when you get it started because you just don't know. You just don't know. You can spend your 15 minutes thinking about it, jot a plan down to go out there and make it work from what you know, and then go from there. And I made all kinds of adjustments on this thing. I noticed that from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, or the time frame I was looking at, it was like that. But I really got to see in that, and I looked through many of them, not all of it. I'd still be looking to see what was on the top of my mind. What did I write about the most? What did I really write about the most in that over that period of time? Well, what I came to realize is that I was definitely more focused on the um, business, the other folks I was working with, the folks I was working with in the office, so much more than some of the other things that I got on that kick of getting organized. I felt like I could help other people with the same thing and then also help them set goals and stuff like that. And that's what I picked up on by looking at it. It was about a month ago that I went through it from what I did 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And it kind of made me think when sitting down there, my 10 or 15 minutes, kind of made me think about like, what is it they're really after over here? You know, what am I really looking to do? What is it that's really the big focus on the whole thing? And it really was tying resources together. That was what it came to for me. What did it come to for you? What do you think it would be? If you had a chance to take a look through your journal from something you've done in the past, no matter how long ago it was, but something you've done in the past, and then see if it's something that still means something to you today. And that realization is going to come to you real quick, really, really fast. Because, oh, yeah. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to get that smile on. It's like, yeah. Not, oh, what the heck was I thinking? Some of those happen just as well. We change, things we want to do changes, our scenarios change, everything changes. But I'm thinking my scenarios changed quite a bit over the years, especially from a career standpoint and a desire standpoint. And I bet yours has changed also for whatever reason. Maybe it's something that happened that was a negative. Maybe something happened that was a positive. Maybe you moved. Maybe the company you're working for moved. That was a big change in my life. It was a merger between two companies. I thought I was in like Flint. No way. I was out. I wasn't fired. I was given a new role at the company. Yeah. So, whatever. That's where that one went. I personally stuck my head in the sand a little bit too long and should have looked for other opportunities before I did. So, got involved in other things. Actually fell into Toastmasters at the time. No money involved with Toastmasters. I don't get paid by Toastmasters. I'm not an employee by Toastmasters. Many people think, but no, 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 no. That is a total volunteer effort, which looks like you may be hearing more about that too. But those personality traits, those things that really meant something then, mean something now. That that's your common thread. It really is. Even if you take a look back at that elementary school book, I found mine too, by the way. The zipper's kind of like uh, rusted together. I could get the thing open. I'd be curious to see what it looks like in there. But your elementary school book, that's when you had everybody sign it. I was like, oh, yeah. I wonder if they still do that. Or it's all digital now. You can't really sign it. We just got their own Facebook page or something. But that college, I never had anybody sign anything. That was totally different. But the business plans and things like that. But what is it that you have of your past that maybe you haven't looked at in forever, ever? But what is it that you have in your past that all of a sudden it's going to lighten you up, where you get a chance to really see what drives you from a personality standpoint, not from what you technically know and not what your area of expertise is. That would have changed throughout the years. But what is it that drives you personally, that keeps it going? And where can you best use that talent, that skill, that personality trait to better your efforts and to better the efforts of those that are surrounding you that you really care to better those efforts? And that's been quite the eye opener on this whole thing. For me doing that, I feel so much better actually personally. Just by being a little bit more organized. Although today's not one of those days because today I actually got started with last night when I got home. I ran across this gentleman. I might as well share some of this stuff right now. Happy Hanukkah to you too, there, Mike and team. I ran across this gentleman that wrote a book about the some of the historical aspects of Long Island, and I found that to be pretty interesting. I also, over the past number of months, ran across and was introduced to this gentleman named Marty Himes, who's got automobile memorabilia that goes back to Islip Speedway, Freeport Speedway. Maybe you've heard of those. They haven't been in existence forever. And would it quarter midgets and stuff like that. Mickey Rooney. Yeah, Mickey Rooney did a movie about racing years and years ago. I bet you it was in the 50s or 60s that he did this movie. Um, it's a 60-year-old movie. Could be even more than that. So he's got Mickey Rooney's helmet from that movie and a picture with him and Mickey Rooney and the car and stuff like that. He's got all of this stuff at his place. Crazy. And I was introduced to this guy. Why? Because it was on the top of my mind. Not him. No idea. No idea the guy existed. In fact, there's a lot of things about auto racing on Long Island that I just had no idea with. I was a spectator. I went and sat in the stands. Yeah. Oh, do you know Marty Doug? That's good. This is what happens. This is what happens, I can tell you. This is the top of mind, folks. That right then and there. So just staying on this whole thing. So I went back and I was introduced, and why? Because I have something on the top of my mind. Why do I have it on the top of my mind? I could tell you because I got involved with the public speaking, and I had the opportunity to do a panel discussion about the auto racing and stuff like that. But when I was cleaning up, I came across some other old memorabilia from a long time ago. This was, I got the, there it is. Long time ago. There we go. That would be 1980, 81, 82, something like that. I was probably 80 or 81. This is Freeport Speedway. That's me in the car holding up that checkered flag, my little 74 Capri. I raced my car at Freeport Speedway. Did I forget I did that? No, never forgot it. But then I found that. And it just kind of solidified yet again this whole thing about auto racing and the history of. So when I was at an event, I was asked to go and speak by mistake. There was another Brian that was asked to go up there and speak, but I was like, I told him immediately because I was very confident in this whole thing, and it's like top of mind. I was like, oh no, I think you're talking about the other Brian that should be speaking. But if I get the opportunity to, I would talk about auto racing on Long Island. And he's like, no, but I want to introduce you to this guy. And he did, who then in turn introduced me to Marty. Fascinating, who's then introduced me to a lawyer. Fascinating about this whole thing. And that's when I ran across all this memorabilia about it. Because on top of mind, yeah, but it's been there forever. And that's why I ask you, is like, what is it? It's been a part of you forever. Don't let it go. Find it. Maybe you're at a state right now, in your situation right now, it allows you to spend a little bit more time with it. Maybe it's a business you can start. Maybe it's just a hobby you want to pursue. Maybe it's just something you want to learn. Beautiful part about the internet is you can learn anything about anything. You could go anywhere and do anything at any time, anywhere. Any place. You can take classes anywhere. You want credit? Great. You want to do it for not credit? Great. It doesn't matter. It's whatever your interest is. I love these adventure things you could do from your computer. I met Dracula last year. Who would have known? Who would have known? Got a tour of the castle. Had somebody on there that was talking about the history of Romania, the real history of Romania, and some of the tales that came from Dracula and that whole thing. It's actually a business. It was business. So it was business, not personal. It was business. Crazy stuff. And then, of course, Dracula himself, which is fascinating. But the thing is, you can learn anything about anything on there. So whatever it is that has been a part of you forever, take your 10 minutes or so and you find your own place to think and see what it is. Go through the old stuff you have and see what it is that's there from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50. I'm not going to go more than 50. It puts me down to about 10 years old. But then again, wasn't I going to Islip Speedway and Freeport Speedway with my dad at 10 years old? I know it was. I had my 13th birthday at one of the tracks. I forget which one. But yeah, brought my friends down, the rest of that stuff. And how cool was that? How cool was that? So this idea of the automobile racing industry, well, more the racing stuff and the excitement of the adrenaline rush, is always there. And we're pursuing that. So we're definitely pursuing that. And I got to share so many more details on that one as it goes along. But here's the thing. Here's my ass. I didn't know that. The suffocating. Oh, right. You know what? That's out of Yacht Bank. I'm sorry. That was a conversation I just had with Doug. One way a little bit there. So Marty, that's Marty Himes. Marty's been collecting memorabilia from Islip Freeport Speedway and other places for years. There used to be 50 plus tracks on Long Island. Do you know that? I had no idea. Now you think of racetracks. Okay, so there's the Vanderbilt Motor Parkway, the Vanderbilt Cup. You probably knew about that. That's Howard Koplick and his thing. Islip Freeport Speedway, I've mentioned that a few times, and that was more of recent times. Then the drag racing, well, that's National Speedway. Formula One, Bridgehampton. You ready for this? Roosevelt Field, A wooden racetrack? Really? Wooden racetracks. You think that's like for the bicycles, right? They had those wooden tracks on it. Used to have for cars also. Created all kinds of issues. Let me tell you, racing was a dangerous sport. It's still a dangerous sport, but it was a crazy dangerous sport with that kind of thing. Can you imagine racing on wood? Wood with hard rubber tires, how slippery that was. And if the wood rotted a little bit and you get caught in a groove or something like that, crazy, crazy dangerous. And of course, dirt tracks and things like that. There's boat racing, airplane racing, all kinds of stuff. Fascinating. And then you run across these things. The Suffolk County Police Museum. You know what? I recall that's and I know that still exists. And that is a great tie-in, Doug. Bingo. Bingo, because I think, and here's the I think on this whole thing, and a lot of stuff that I've been doing has kind of solidified this whole thing, as that goes, But I definitely want to focus in just one more time, with this whole idea, whether it be Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa or whatever, or New Year's resolutions, self-reflection. The Navy admiral, I believe it was, that talked about how you need to make your bed in the morning. And then you're starting the day off right and doing that. Maybe it's going to some religious institution in the morning. Maybe it's a daily prayer, whatever it may be. Maybe it's the idea of you getting up in the morning, going out and exercise. Maybe it's having your protein shake in the morning. Maybe it's having a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and giving yourself a few minutes to write through your business plan. Maybe it's keeping just a daily sheet. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's just some one thing that you do that helps keep you focused, for one, on what's most important to you inside of you. Not so much as what's important for you day to day and hour to hour. Gosh, we drive ourselves crazy with that stuff. But what is it? What is it that is your best quality? What is it that you think about all of the time? All of the time. What do you really focus on all of the time? And ultimately, I think for me, the idea is having the confidence to go after your goals. How do you do that? There's a tremendous amount of ways to go out there and do that. But if you can go out there and achieve your goals, advance through the opportunities, in other words, look at your challenges as different places to grow from, because you're going to get through the challenge. I hope you get through the challenges, but you're going to find out inherently who you really are. If you force yourself to write down something each and every day, at some point in time, you're going to figure out who you really are. Inside of Toastmasters, I had to give a speech. Well, I wanted to give a speech at virtually every meeting. And I've been in Toastmasters now for like 15 years, 16 years, something like that. Oh my gosh, it's definitely 16 years. Could be even longer than that. Might even be 18 years. It's a long time. But I had to give a speech all the time. What was I going to talk about all the time? I picked up stuff out of the blue. But I wound up talking about stuff that meant something to me. Even this. What is it that I wind up talking about all the time? It's moving forward in some respect. Hopefully we hit on a number of different ways in order to go and do that. Hopefully something in there, works for you to do that. For me, I like finding a catalyst every once in a while. Work with that, work with people, bring them together. This way we can continue to gain that confidence to go out there and achieve those goals, whatever those goals may be. And you know what? For the next 8 crazy nights, or 7 more crazy nights, maybe it's taking 10 or 15 minutes for the Jewish side of life to go light those candles. Catholic? Hey, you know what? Maybe it's Christmas. Maybe there's some aspect of Christmas that it's like each and every day. Every time that you go down and take a look at that tree, spend a few minutes. Maybe that's your 10 or 15 minutes. If you're celebrating some of the other holidays, you'll figure it out. You'll see. Find that time to reflect on what's really making you, you. And then you'll speak often. You will speak inspired, and you will inspire others to do exactly the same thing. speak well, speak often, and live inspired. Have a great day, and happy Hanukkah.